Welcome to NJASK Staff Training. This is your Assistant Principal and School Test Coordinator, Eric Reisick. As School Test Coordinator, I am responsible for coordinating all staff training, developing a test schedule for students, proctors, and examiners, and resolving any and all test issues that may arise. If you have any questions either before, during, or after testing, please don't hesitate to ask. I can be reached by phone, email, or stop by the deli counter and take a number. Well, without further ado, let's begin our training. In today's training, we will be covering the following. We'll be answering the question, who must be tested? When are the testing dates and times? What material is needed? Who can be an examiner and who can be a proctor? What makes for a good testing site? How should I distribute test booklets, answer folders, and other testing material? How can I be sure a student is in the right section of the test and answer folder? SMID numbers, rules for accommodations, proper test collection procedure, scoring, and answer the questions during testing I should always or I should never. So who must be tested? All 6th through 8th grade students in public schools in the state of New Jersey must be tested. This includes general education students, limited English proficient students, special education students, and yes, retained students. Test dates and times will be as follows. Monday and Tuesday, May 5th and 6th respectively, will be our English Language Arts Day 1 and Day 2 for students in grades 7 and 8. Students in those grades will be asked to complete 36 multiple choice questions, complete 2 writing tasks, 4 open-ended questions, and a field test component. Day 1 will take about an hour and 45 minutes. While Day 2, 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes. Wednesday and Thursday, May 7th and 8th, will mark Math Day 1 and 2 for students in grade 7. Over the course of the 2 days, students will answer 42 multiple choice questions, 5 extended constructed response questions, and 10 short constructed response questions. This includes a field test item. Day 1 will take about 64 minutes. Day 2, 69 minutes. Day 3, May 7th, for 8th grade students taking the math section. They will have 42 multiple choice questions, 5 extended constructed response questions, and 10 short constructed responses. This will also include a field test component. Day 3 for math will be approximately 133 minutes. Day 4 for 8th grade students will be Thursday, May 8th. This will be the science portion of the test. This test will involve 63 multiple choice questions, 3 open-ended questions, as well as a field test component. Day 4 science test will be approximately 2 hours in length. It is important to note the periodic table of elements is not included in the test booklets. At the time of the science test, the periodic table of elements must be distributed to students. Monday and Tuesday, May 5th and 6th, will be English Language Arts section for grade 6. Across the 2 days, students will complete 36 multiple choice questions, 2 writing tasks, 4 open-ended questions, as well as a field test component. Day 1 will be 1 hour and 45 minutes. Day 2, 2 hours to 2 hours and 15 minutes. Day 3 and 4 for 6th grade students will be May 7th and 8th. It will be Math Day 1 and 2. Across the 2 days of math test, there will be 43 multiple choice questions, 4 extended constructed response questions, and 8 short constructed response questions. This will also include a field test item. Day 1 will be 64 minutes in length, while Day 2, 69 minutes in length. Makeup administration will begin Monday, May 12th, and will run through Friday, May 16th. Any student who is absent one or more days during the testing week will be testing during makeup administration. Please encourage your students to be at school each day during the testing week. The makeup schedule will be emailed to staff or shared with them on Google Drive. This will include the test being taken, who it will be taking with, and the time it will be taken. Okay, materials and supplies needed to administer the New Jersey Ask. Number 2, pencils with erasers. This will be provided by guidance. Guidance will supply you with approximately 2 pencils per student. Mechanical pencils are not permissible and should not be used. A clock and or timer should be in every classroom. We will be using the TV again this year as a timer. Please make sure it is on. Every testing site must have a chalkboard or whiteboard. This is important as it will be used to let students know how much time is remaining in their test section. This is also a requirement that students are made aware of how much time remains in the test. Test booklets and answer folders, writer's checklists, math reference sheets, math manipulative sheets, calculators, blank graph paper, blank mathematics grid and or scratch paper, periodic table of element sheets, test examiner manuals, student rosters, and irregularity reports, 2 of which will be provided to each test examiner. Okay, the New Jersey Ask 6 through 8 test booklets. The New Jersey Ask 6 and 7 tests consist of 2 sections, Language Arts Literacy and Math. Both sections are contained in a single test booklet. The New Jersey Ask 8 consists of 3 sections, Language Arts Literacy, Mathematics, and Science. All 3 sections are contained in a single test booklet. Each test booklet is identified by a unique security number. Booklets are arranged in sequential order by security number. Test booklet seals are not to be broken until the day that section is administered, and then it is only to be done by the student. All writing tasks are contained within the test booklet. Answer folders. Responses to all multiple choice items, open-ended items, short constructed responses, extended constructed responses, and writing tasks must be recorded in the answer folder. No additional sheets of paper can be used. Each grade level will have a specific color-coded answer folder. Grade 6 will have green, grade 7 will have blue, and grade 8 will have red. Pre-ID labels will be affixed to the upper left corner of the answer folder. For each student who is on our roster in the fall, students arriving after the submission date will have their information gridded in by their guidance counselor. Therefore, no gridding will need to be done by students except to enter their test booklet form letter and test booklet number. Again, let me repeat this. Whether a student has a pre-ID label or not, no gridding will need to be done except for a student to enter the test booklet form letter and test booklet number. Here's a sample of the New Jersey Ask answer folder. The pre-ID label should be placed up here in this area here, which I'm circling with the mouse. Okay, writer's checklists. The writer's checklists are wrapped in packages of 5 and must be distributed on each day of the testing for language arts literacy. Sufficient quantities are provided for use on each of the 2 days of language arts literacy testing. Failure to distribute these writer's checklists on language arts literacy results in irregularity. All students who do not receive writer's checklists will have to be retested. Retesting cost of retesting would be incurred by the district, and the examiner would ultimately receive some kind of punishment. Calculators. Students must have calculators for use during specific parts of the mathematics section in New Jersey Ask 6 through 8. Refer to the examiner materials for specific instructions on when to distribute. The calculator to be used should allow the the student to perform calculations as specified in the 6 through 8 cumulative progress indicators, including adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Students must use the calculators they use on a regular basis in the classroom or one with which they are most familiar. Computers, laptops, palm tops, etc. are not acceptable calculators. Extra calculators and batteries will be provided to you by guidance and should be available for emergencies. Any instruction manuals or function reference sheets must be removed prior to testing. Calculator memories must be cleared both before and after administration of the mathematics section. Examiners, this will be done for you. Calculators used for testing must meet the criteria described in Appendix L of this manual. Again, the calculators that will be used will meet the criteria described in Appendix L. Here's the calculator cheat sheet for students in grades 6, 7, and 8. Please pay close attention as I read through the cheat sheet. Part 1 is non-calculator active for all students, regardless of whether they have an IEP or 504. Again, I'll say this one more time. Part 1 is a non-calculator active section for all students, regardless of whether they have an IEP or 504. No student should be using a calculator during Part 1. Parts 2 and 3 are non-calculator active for all students, except those students who have an IEP or 504 accommodation that allows them to use a calculator. Again, Parts 2 and Part 3 are non-calculator active sections for all students, except those students who have a specific accommodation in their 504 or IEP that allows them to use a calculator. In Parts 4, 5, and 6, they are calculator active for all students. Again, Parts 4, 5, and 6 are calculator active parts for all students. This year our students will have new mathematics reference sheets, protractors, and rulers in all grades, grades 6, 7, and 8. The New Jersey NJASK 6 through 8 has transitioned to the Common Core State Standards. The Common Core State Standards will be tested on this year's New Jersey NJASK. The New Jersey NJASK 6 through 8 reference sheets have been revised to reflect the content on the Common Core State Standards in mathematics. Please note, grade 6 and 7 mathematics reference sheets are only 1 page each, while the grade 8 mathematics reference sheets are 2 pages. Please make sure students get both pages in grade 8 and that students in grade 6 and 7 only receive 1 sheet. The periodic table of elements sheets are wrapped in packages of 5 and must be distributed on the day of testing for science. Again, failure to do so will result in irregularity. Students will have to be retested again at the district's cost and at the discipline of the examiner. Again, please make sure students have all the materials needed to be successful on the test. Please provide them with the periodic table of elements for the science portion, the mathematics reference sheets on the math portion, and the writer's checklist on the language arts portion. Here's a sample student roster. This will be provided for you and you will collect on the day of the test. The importance here will be for you to take accurate attendance each day. What I ask is that you mark an X or put an A for a student who is absent. Again, please only mark the students who are absent with either an X or an A. It is important this is done accurately, as this will help us develop our makeup sections. Again, please make sure you do this accurately. This is a sample of a regularity report. Draw your attention here at the top. I will provide you with a CDS code as we get closer to testing. District name, it's entered here on this line here. Our school, Lancaster Intermediate School, gets entered here. Date the infraction occurred. The examiner's name, who's preparing the document, as well as a phone number at which you can be contacted. The grade level in which the infraction occurred. If you're examining grade 6, please put an X here. The type of irregularity. There's a list here of 13 different irregularities that could occur. This list here will help you identify the irregularity type down here on the form. So you enter the irregularity type in this column here, the last name of the student, the first name of the student, the answer folder number, the test booklet number, the subject in which the irregularity occurred, and a brief description of the irregularity. Irregularity reports. Districts are required to submit an irregularity report for any testing irregularity affecting scoring or security of student documents. All irregularities must be reported to the school test coordinator immediately. Again, all irregularities must be reported to the school test coordinator immediately. Examiners must fill out the report in its entirety, and all information entered on the report must be printed. A copy of the completed irregularity report will be returned to the examiner, and the original will be sent with the answer folder to Measurement Incorporated. Now, there's a lot of talk about examiners and proctors, but what is an examiner and what is a proctor? Examiners must be certified professionals currently employed by the district, such as a teacher, guidance counselor, or child study team member. Long-term substitute teachers are considered employees of the district and therefore can be examiners. Only examiners are permitted to handle secure testing materials. Those materials include test booklets and answer folders. Answer folders become secure items once they are handled by students and information is recorded in them. Proctors are non-certificated staff members such as paraprofessionals, administrative assistants, and securities. Proctors may only help in distributing and collecting materials, again, but not secure test items, observing students from different points in the room while test is being administered, and answering student questions when there is a problem related to test or directions. Proctors must also be advised that students cannot be coached or assisted on the test itself. Proctors cannot be left alone with the students during the administration of the test. Testing sites. Students must be well spaced with ample surface area. Students should be assigned seating by alphabetical order. Testing sites should have good lighting and ventilation, have a clock and chart to display time remaining. No coats, backpacks, cell phones, or other restricted electronic devices are to be in the testing site. That goes for both students, proctors, and examiners. Again, no coats, backpacks, cell phones, or other restricted electronic devices. This includes iPads. Again, are to be in the possession of either students, proctors, or examiners in the testing site. Instructional displays are to be covered or taken down. I will be around the building on Friday, May 2nd to check classrooms. Again, all instructional displays must be taken down by Friday, May 2nd. Students must never be left unattended in testing sites. There must always be an examiner in the room while students have their test. No buzzers, bells, or non-emergency announcements or interruptions will be made during testing. Again, I'm going to say this for a second time. No cell phones by students, proctors, or examiners. This is important. It's probably the most common irregularity. Students may not eat or drink at their desk during administration of tests. I also would say and include proctors and examiners may not eat or drink in testing sites during the administration of tests. Students must do their own work on the test and must receive No outside assistance. Students may not use dictionaries or any other reference materials during test administration. Students may use blank graph paper, blank math grid paper, and/or scratch paper during the mathematics test administration. The used graph paper or used grid paper and/or scratch paper must be collected and destroyed by a school test coordinator following each test administration. Students who find it necessary to use the bathroom during testing may do so, as long as they are escorted by an examiner or proctor. These examiners or proctors will be available in the hallway. If you have a student who needs to use the lavatory, please peek out into the hallway, get the attention of an examiner or proctor who is out there, and direct your student to walk with them. Students must return to the testing room promptly and are not to discuss the test with others. The student's test materials should be left with the examiner until the student returns. For students in grades 6 through 8, each used first day test booklet and answer folder will be redistributed to the student named on the front covers for each day of testing. Proper distribution. For students in each grade 6 through 8, answer folder has a unique identification number. Students must use the same test booklet and same answer folder for each day of testing. Please note, for grades 6 through 8, on the first day of testing, students must print their name on the front cover of the test booklet assigned to them and record the number and form letter of the test booklet on their answer folder. For those students who are absent the first day of testing, examiners should print the students' names on test booklets and answer folders. Again, for those students who are absent, the examiner should print their student's test name on their test booklet and answer folder. For grades 6 through 8, the test books will have 4 seals on the right side. For grades 6 through 7, 1 seal is for the Language Arts Literacy Day 1, 1 seal is for Language Arts Literacy Day 2, 1 seal is for Mathematics Day 1, and 1 seal is for Mathematics Day 2. For grade 8, 1 seal is for Language Arts Day 1, 1 seal is for Language Arts Literacy Day 2, 1 seal is for the Mathematics section of the test, and 1 seal is for the Science section of the test. These seals must not be broken until the day the particular section is administered, and then they must only be broken by students. All responses to all test items and writing tasks must be written in the spaces provided in the answer folders. No extra paper may be used to continue a written response, with the exception of special education or Section 504 students as detailed in Appendix A. Each page of the answer folder has page borders within which all markings must be confined. No extraneous remarks should be made by students outside these borders. Prior to handing out materials, the class must be seated in alphabetical order and quiet. The directions in the test examiner manual will dictate the order in which materials are distributed. Test booklets must be distributed in numeric order. Use the 2 sets of hand rules. Secure material should only pass through 2 sets of hands, that of the examiner and that of the student whose name is on the secure material. Therefore, secure materials are not to be distributed by passing items up, down, or across rows. It is to be done individually. Working in the right section. One of the more common testing irregularities occurs when students enter answers into the wrong section of the answer folder. This situation can easily be avoided by the attentive examiner. The practice of regularly circulating the testing site will help avert this issue. The test booklet and answer folder has a corresponding visual cue printed in the corner of every page. The test examiner should check that the visual cues in the test booklet and answer folder match each other, as well as to the identified visual cue in the test examiner manual. If this mistake occurs, please do not encourage students to erase their answers, especially if they have completed most of the section. Erasure marks are considered an irregularity. Okay, examiner SPID numbers. Examiners are not required to grid in their assigned SPID on each student's test document for each day of testing, if it's printed on the pre-ID label. Pre-ID labels will be will contain the SMID of the examiner listed on day 1 of the student's data file submission to New Jersey Smart. Students are coded to their homeroom teacher. So if you are testing with students who are in your homeroom, you will not need to grid your examiner SMID number. It will already be there on their pre-ID label. If there are any changes as to whom will serve as an examiner to any student, please refer to the next slide for technical assistance. Only examiners in the classroom administering the assessment are submitted in this field. Proctors should not be submitted. If there is more than one examiner in the room, submit the person who is playing the most direct role in the administration. In most cases, there will only be one examiner in the room. If different sections are administered by different people, submit the most appropriate one to this field. For example, at some point during test administration, many of my teachers will be relieved for one class period. The examiner who is in there for the most time should be the one gridding their SMID number. Here's an example. During grade 1 of the grade 6 English Language Arts Literacy section, Mr. Brown serves as the examiner of record. Mr. Brown's SMID number is printed on the pre-ID label. As a result, Mr. Brown is not required to grid his SMID number on the test booklet. Unfortunately, due to a traffic accident, Mr. Brown will not be in school in time to administer day 2 of grade 6 English Language Arts. Therefore, Mr. Purple serves as the examiner of record. On each test booklet for which Mr. Purple is the examiner of record, Mr. Purple's SMID number must be coded onto the back of the grade 6 ELA test booklet. For day 1 of math, Mr. Brown has returned and will serve as the examiner for his grade 6 class. To ensure that Mr. Brown is identified as the examiner of record, Mr. Brown will have to code his SMID on the back of the grade 6 math test booklet, even if the pre-ID label has his SMID already. Since the sequence was broken, gridding of the SMID for each day of testing is now critical. The SMID that is coded on the back of the test booklet overrides the SMID number printed on the pre-ID label. This process is the same as grading student demographic information for any student whose pre-ID label is incorrect or during use of generic linking labels. I will also add the SMID number is for security reasons only. It is not connected in any way to an SGP. Again, it is for security reasons only. Alright, here's where, for example, this one here has 2 English Language Arts days for examiners. There should be 2 others here, but for our example here, there's just 2. This will need to be gridded in, so you'll need to write your number down here in the rows here, in the columns here, and then grid in the numbers as well. Alright. Testing accommodations. Students are not to receive any additional accommodations except for those outlined in a student's IEP or 504. Examiners assigned to test students with accommodations will receive a separate training on the specific accommodations for the students assigned to them. A list of the acceptable testing accommodations is listed in Appendix A, which is page 53 of the training packet. Material collection. The test examiner manual will identify the order in which testing materials should be collected. All scratch paper given to students must be collected and returned to the school test coordinator. All reference sheets must be collected and returned to the school test coordinator. Secure materials must be collected using the 2 sets of hands rule, and therefore must not be passed up, down, or across rows or aisles. Students must remain in the testing site until all testing materials have been collected, accounted for, and returned to secure storage. This is always a challenge. Testing does not end when you have collected all the materials from your class. Okay, testing does not end when you have logged everything back in. Testing ends when there is an announcement made over the intercom. At that point, if a student needs to use the lavatory, they may do so. Until that time, students are to remain in their classrooms. Again, this is for security purposes. Students are to remain in their classrooms until an announcement is made. All right, this is a little bit of a an FYI type slide. Um, for those students who make 200, you also have those students who make 199 and just miss being proficient. As an FYI, I figured I'd leave this slide in here, and just let you know that students who score within one raw score point of the proficient level will go through an automatic rescore process prior to reporting. Any rescore that results in a change in score will be reflected in the district's reports. Again, so those students who score 199, they don't get their score test graded just once, but they actually get it graded twice. And again, that's just the open-ended and constructed response questions. Alright, always. You should always maintain limited access to secure materials at all times. So for those students who are absent, please do not leave their test booklets and answer folders on their desks. Once you've distributed them and you realize that they're absent, you are to collect those materials and secure them back into the box that we provide to you. Do not leave them out. Please secure them right away. Keep your test booklets in numeric order. This will make for efficient collection and return of your test booklets. Seat students in a way that helps to prevent cheating. Report testing irregularities immediately to the school test coordinator. And always, examiners must circulate throughout the room during the test administration. All right, you are not to be sitting down at a desk. You are not to be grading papers. You're not to be reading a book. You must be involved in the administration of the test. You must be walking around the classroom at all times. All right, never abrogate the responsibility of counting and recounting test booklets. Never distribute booklets out of numeric order. Never borrow or lend test booklets. Never allow students to use pen. Never instruct students to pass test booklets up an aisle or a row. Never provide extra sheets of paper unless an IEP or 504 plan specifies this as an accommodation. And this is important. Never, ever read the passages contained in the English Language Arts Literacy section. Again, never read the passages contained in the English Language Arts Literacy section. This is an irregularity and this is a security breach. Do not read the passages contained in the English Language Arts Literacy section. Once we have completed all training, this is a NJASK test security form. This will need to be completed by every teacher, every proctor in the building. Here's my contact information, my extension 3101. You can certainly email me. Again, you can feel free to stop by my office at any time for any question you have, and I will get back to you immediately. And if I don't have the answer, I will find the answer for you, and hopefully we'll have a great test administration. I want to thank you for looking at this video. There will be a couple questions that we have will follow, and good luck.